Hello and welcome to RGT Real Physics version 2 test 2. I'm Riley Harvey for Virtual Cycling News, and stream tonight's provided by ZMS Livestream. Tonight we are at Central Park, New York. We're going for 3 laps of a short circuit. It's kind of crit style racing, 9.8 kilometers per lap, 395 meters in total of elevation. Purpose of tonight, it's another of the RGT tests. They're doing open tests of the new physics that they're bringing out with the community involved, asking for feedback, asking for any assistance to try and make sure that they nail this and get the best physics of any cycling platform out there. Some would say they've already got the best physics, but they're trying to improve on it and they're trying to get feedback from everybody to make sure they're the best. If you're watching us on Facebook, and please make sure you like and follow this stream. And if you're watching us on YouTube, like and subscribe. You guys know what you need to do. Seeing those likes, those follows just helps us, gives us motivation to carry on bringing out new content. I'm going to be blasting off here. We usually go off at around about 6-7 watts per kilogram at the beginning of these races. I'm going to try and stay with the lead group. But the idea of tonight is to try and showcase the physics, try and get a bit of an idea for what's different, what's better, what's maybe worse, and try and give some feedback. Any of you guys that are watching it, anybody that's taking part, you can give feedback through the app. If you go into this ride, there is a link in the description that'll take you to a feedback form, and you can go through there, give feedback to the developers, and make sure that this is the best physics that we've got, basically. Managed to get in early, so I'm on the front row. Give myself the best chance of staying with the guys. Most races, I don't know whether that's still the same for this race, but usually collision is turned off for the first 100 meters. So if you get stuck at the back of the pack, you can usually blast through and literally ride through riders for the first 100 meters off the line. So if there's a guy in front of you who doesn't get a particularly fast start, or a slower guy gets in front of you at the beginning, you don't have to worry about trying to weave your way around them, waiting for the software to figure out a route to get past them. You just ride straight through them. But then after 100 meters, that gets turned on, the collision. And once you get to that point, you can't ride through riders any longer. You can draft off them, and you have to wait for gaps to open. So it can be quite important from that point on then to judge your power, to try and get your avatar into the best position possible. Got 6 seconds to go. The aircraft coming over. We're off. And typically I just drop power at the wrong moment then. Using Bluetooth through my phone at the moment. I normally would use ANT, but my ANT system's dropped out. I haven't yet got around to figuring out why. So, I'm using Bluetooth, which has been fantastically reliable until just then. Right, back with the front group. That hurt. I'm sat in now, getting 350 watt saving. It already feels like somebody's turned my fan off. It's that hot. Not sure. Like a James Melville from there, just lying on. And by the way, sitting on my wheel. And so far, can't complain about how it's working. I'm sat in on the wheel and getting a good draft saving, but 100 watts-ish. All going a bit wide on that corner. I've dropped out massively there. So, seems to be locking in a bit better on the wheel than I was previously. It's gone the only incline in the circuit, the only significant incline. You see, draft diminished as we're going up. Wow. Yeah. So back here, once I've dropped back, Bruce dropped me. So, talk about what's going on near the front. James Melville in the 11th position there. Front of the race, fell back. Rider positioning looks nice and smooth. Just gonna recover my breath so that second group on the road catch me. Either down there, using a look behind, see where everyone is behind him. Tom Gates, drift team in second place there. So, it's interesting to see. Still quite difficult to set up a breakaway, or for a one-man breakaway. Then, I've always wondered about the logistics of that, with it being such short races. It's difficult to build up the breakaway. You're not killing riders, you're knocking them out at the back. You down there, busting away in the front again. Let's just see whether they make it away. So I'm just back with another group now. Picked up another group on the road. Just trying to get in and sit in on the draft there. Just a little incline again. Don't mean pain. Bit of a bigger guy than Mike. Alright, just pushed through on the outside there. Gucci. Just got enough draft of him to get back to the bunch. Problem with any change in physics is it does take a while to relearn it. So, John, by the way, there in the middle group. We're just picking up the rider on the road now. The road TR rider, a few of those in here tonight. So Jason Flores has just asked what we're looking for to see in this round of testing. Well, they haven't told us what they're looking for, Jason. They've asked us to ride it and to see what we think of it. Kind of a blind testing. Hopefully it'll become obvious, or if nobody complains, maybe they've changed it enough to make it work, and not enough to ruin it. I know previously, in the last iteration, myself, one of the things they did change was how quickly you slide into the draft behind a rider, which led me to lose out on the sprint last time around. But at least at this moment in time, looks like they've improved that. Now just chasing back up to this group, but oh, good question, Dan. Perhaps one that you might have to look back on the stream and analyse for yourself. I'm a heavier rider, 83 kilos. But I'm not sure I can pick out everyone's weight. Sorry, Dan's asked, he's interested in how watts of light riders compared to heavy and how he's drafting side by side. Well, my group on the road is killing me. Hi O'Neill, it looks good. Better than a drunken bike party for sure. Well, don't want to be referencing Zwift there and their cannibal of dynamics. RGT for me, it's always seemed like it works fairly well. Apart from when I'm getting dropped and it's broken. There's my friend Mike, Stratolute, the head support guy. He's up in the next group of the road for me. So, got Rob Stone on the lead of this race now. Rob Stone is a fantastic rider, puts out strong, consistent watts. He did the 24-hour endurance ride last year, just amazing. He was putting out power all the way through the ride. That, you know, that's me for an hour, and he was doing it all the time. We've got a good partner there with James Melville on the front if we can work together. definitely be able to hold off the pack. The strength of those two together, but Rob strapped back into the pack. Heated down. He's making a move on the front. Now, I've not really seen anyone just riding off the front of the pack, but what I have seen on a few occasions now is riders coming from second and third position and opening up a good gap on the field, and I think accelerating past the lead rider at pace means that they can't jump in on your draft. Yeah, Gary Twist is asking if any changes to the racing line around the corners. It looks like riders are attempting to find it. I'm not sure if that's new. And yeah, but I have to agree, Gary, on one of the corners, well, I'm just seeing it now, a little S-bend there, pushed out wide for both the corners, but then my avatar has just come back in a bit tighter to hit the apex, and it did that on one of the earlier corners, but I think I'd eased off on the power a little too much and got caught out, and because I was on the outside, just everyone found that racing line a bit sooner than me, and I stayed on the outside. Probably should have driven a bit more into the corner. You can go see where my avatar is, just drifted over towards the apex again. Just gradually it's going back towards the centre of the road as we're coming out. 19.3 kilometres left for the leaders of the race here. I'm still on that one. '39th position. And James Vickers there. Another of the official RGT crew. Now doing some testing for himself. So RGT do test these physics, but a lot of the time they're testing them with solid state bots, which means it's not very dynamic. You're not getting people pushing into corners, slowing, driving into the climbs, so you can't really get an accurate call on how the engine's working, how the feedback is. So that's why I've got these live tests. It takes a lot of effort by the RGT staff to put one of these on. So if you do have any comments, it's great to get them across. So Dan's just saying, in RGT at 57 kilograms, he needs much higher watts per kilogram, similar total watts as an 80 kilogram rider on flat roads. On a climb, saying what kilogram lower watts. Real life would be low watts, but still higher watts per kilogram. You can't really have lower watts but higher watts per kilogram, because your watts per kilogram is directly linked to your watts that you're producing. So, not sure if Dan's phrased that quite correctly, but watts per kilogram is only really comparable when you're going uphill. On the flat, it's very difficult because your rolling resistance is pretty much the same for everyone in RGT, so heavier riders do tend to have an advantage, because coupled with the weight is usually a higher raw watt performance. Well, not give me. It's back in the front of the race here with Rob Stone, and he's just putting out a consistent 370 there, going up to 400 watts on the front. Jerry Shepherds is there, Tom Gates. being joined at the back end here. Number 14, he and Alex joined me. Some company. Stop me being lonely on the road. So, yeah, the lead there, I've still got Tom Gates up in the front. Oh, see Matthew there, he's saying that he loves the evolution compared to the last test. So, well done, Debs. I'm just drifting to the side of Penal here, and just sort of half wheeling him a bit more. Again, a 57 watt saving. And Penal there, pushing me over the road a little bit. There's a drift further back. Penal's putting a bit more of an effort here. Just can see if I can slide on his wheel. And my avatar was a lot more eager to get behind him. I'm saving 80 watts now. Again, so yeah, if you look at this now, slightly drifting across the left hand side of the road with the riders to take the apex in that corner. Only a gentle corner, but it did look like they were attempting to move across there. Igor Kops up in the front group there. He's a strong rider. Antoine Renault there as well. Renault. $702 watts there for Renault for a moment when he just slightly losing the draft. Okay, Stan Connolly said, sorry, Edmund, compared to a heavier rider, wind resistance doesn't depend on weight in RGT. In real life, smaller riders have smaller cross section. You can ride flats with good locks like Cavendish. But yeah, Cavendish is only really known for his sprints. Never really seen him powering it off on the flats like a lot of the heavier, bigger guys do. Like say Thomas De Gendt, who's by no means heavy, but certainly bigger than Cavendish is. I appreciate what you're saying there. I think with wind, RGT have not been currently allowing for wind because there's just so many factors involved in it, and it's a very dynamic feature of the game. I know I keep quoting it Zwift, employ it, but looking at any of the Zwift forums, there's plenty of arguments there that the CDA, the frontal area of the riders, isn't properly applied there. So I think potentially it might be better to not have it. You know, if you have it and apply it badly, or not have it at all. Just on this little climb again. Pushing up there. Battery monitor's decided not to work tonight. Somebody comment there from Austin that his look back's not working, but I've seen it working for some of the riders. Yeah, a few of the other riders just chipping in to say it's working for them too. So, calm down at the front of the race again. Rob Stone, once again pushing on the front. Rob's a regular at the Monday night 10 mile TT, which is run by CTT organisation, Cycling Time Trials, and he quite often takes the honours in those 10 mile time trials. We were doing some 25-mile Saturday ones, which I've not seen for a little while now, and surprisingly he was taking me on his nose as well. Got a big diesel engine. So, 13.4 kilometres left to go for the lead riders there. Rob Stone just dropped out of the group a little bit, putting a good effort here to get himself back. Past another rider there who's dropped. Way rude. Stone's just powering on up to the group there. Way rude's not giving up though. Very difficult to bridge back up to a group that's moving quite fast. So, just saw Melville's avatar there, tucking in behind the lead rider, getting the best of the draft. Yeah. I have to give Mike Lister a bit more respect after tonight's ride. The way he frequently rides and commentates virtual cycling news just shows how fit a guy he is to be able to put those efforts in and still get his words out. And importantly, he often finish on the podium. Whereas I'm in 40th. But with Rob Stone again on the front, you see his rider lean over then and drift over to the apex of that corner. So someone did comment earlier on about the racing line, and I think with that view it's clear to see that the riders are moving closer towards it into a sweeping left-hander, moving over to the left-hand side of the road. You can see he's shutting the door and riders on the inside of him there. Riders pushing hard on the outside, coming over him. 11.6 kilometres for the lead riders now. I'm just sitting in on Marcus's wheel here, enjoying the draft saving. Difference is saving around about 120 watts here. When I was in the pack of the leaders at the beginning, saving about 300 watts. It really shows how the pack can reel in a lone rider so easily. Bell there, make a break on the front, and he's gapped, and you see a rider branching off there. Let's try and catch back up to him. Antoine Renault. And it looks like there's too many riders in the peloton pushing there. Melville's coming across too. I don't think it was Renault that came across then. Basically there's too many riders from the peloton stopping Feldbell's fun there, and the whole peloton's caught back up again. So what I was trying to explain earlier on is in your longer multi-day races, riders are going in with fatigue, and the peloton doesn't always want to chase back on, so they're quite happy to let breakaway go. In an hour race, then maybe the only race someone's doing in a week, they're not carrying that same sort of fatigue, and they know they've only got to put the effort in for an hour, so much more difficult for a break to go, although it is something that's asked about quite a lot. If you go back through the videos, you'll see we did the Ratio pop-up race. It was race number 3 on Monday, and in that race you'll see how well the Ratio team worked together to form a breakaway, to gradually soften up the other riders in the group, and then for a number of them to break away and hold that and take it all the way to the finish line. It really was a good race to watch, and illustrated how well the draft works as individuals, because it is calculated back on the main server at RGT and not on your local machine where there's a bit of guessing going on. The main computer knows exactly where every rider is in the race and how much draft you should be getting off them. So my rider Vargas just stole a bit of a march from me there. Made back to his wheel. Back in again now. Saving watts. Recovering slightly. See there on the left hand side of your screen the crit type loop that we're doing around New York. As I say, it's fairly flat. 65 metres of elevation per lap. 195 total. The race leaders just coming into their final lap. They'll be singing the start finish line. We'll be blasting round for one last time. We'll get to see how the physics work going into a sprint. And Nepo in there, my partner in the next race. We're covering Westerley races tonight. Mike unfortunately blew the plans, so Ned's been left with the chattier of the two. So we'll see how we get on in that race. I'm dropping back a little bit in the group here. James Vickers is isolated, back in 18th position. Not seen James riding much this year. He used to take part in a lot of the races. I don't know whether he's been doing secret testing or real life riding, but I used to see him as a big feature. He's only pushing out 17 watts there for a moment. Maybe he's waiting for me to catch him up. Could be waiting for a while. 8 kilometres for the race leaders now. The next group on the road. Next big group this. John, by the way, is in there. Excuse me. Travel. There's Mike waiting for me. Back in 38th position. I just got caught by a few riders then, and they flew past me, but my avatar was quick to jump in behind them and pick up the draft, which is what I like really. Mike's putting in 525 watts here to try and stay away from me, so I think he's going to succeed with that sort of wattage. Fairly hard on the road there. 280 watts. And absolutely drenched. See the head bobbing. So when you know riders are done for. Head's moving more than the legs. Just on a slow drag, 1.6%. Well, there you go, at the front of my group there, 210 watts. See, catching up. Melville at the front of the ride, doing a strong effort. Distance to pack a little bit. Still got 6.1 kilometres to go, but it's a good all-round rider. Melville, good strong engine, putting out 380 watts. Front of the pack. There go cops there. Front of the pack, they've all sort of eased back, it would appear, putting in orange and yellow efforts. A couple of riders breaking free, net going, and he the strum. He didn't even, so. But again, pack sees them, doesn't want too many up the road, breaks forward to catch them. Melville and Rob Stone at the front there. So they're coming up to some of the back markers now. Absolutely surprised that that's me. Nope. Rob Stone and Melville there. Rob's looking like he's dropping Melville after he's putting that effort. 5 kilometres left to go. Melville's dropped back, watching the pack. Letting someone else put in the effort to pick up Rob, and they're just looking like they're watching and waiting. Anyone that races regularly with Rob, that tends to go for a big effort a long way from the line. I hope nobody's watching this live and you just ruined your hopes here, Rob. Even 50 watts, Rob's easing. Just to let that pack catch. Well, the previous version had many comments coming up on the chat window about this, that and the other on the live chat within the game, and whilst it doesn't shout compliments, there haven't been any negativity coming through either. So the chat is generally much quieter, just a little bit chitter chatter about what's happening. Melville again braking on the front, followed by Bowen and Joey Shepherd's, Stone, they're all pushing in. There's a rider dropped off the back of the group there. I don't know if you've seen it. Gradual softening now. Maybe 1 or 2 riders with this random acceleration as we'll chop off the back. Thomas Gates, it looks like he was distanced. Rob Stone again, pushing forward on the front. Keeping a steady tempo. Looking at it myself, I think they've kept the fluidity of the avatars, but they do appear to be snapping into the wheel a little bit quicker than they were previously. Racing line through the corner looks nice and smooth. Overall, I'd say this is good. This is kind of a race effort though. I would be interested to see how the same dynamics performed on a group ride, where riders are going a little bit slower and maybe making use of that draft just to stay at a steady pace with the group rather than kind of sprint off efforts like a race tends to be. And in groups where you might drop back to tow a rider back up to a group that we've accidentally fallen out of, which is something that very rarely happens in races. So Melville's dropped back into 7th position now on the road, and Bowen behind him. Bowen has got a good sprint. This goes to the line. I'll be looking at Bowen to make the move, take the win. We'd have done there. First position, using the look back feature, make him aware that he's got the rider sat around his wheel. There goes Melville, pushing hard. Can't see the rider behind him. I guess it's Rob Stone. It is. And I think this will be to the line now for Rob. Rob, Melville and Newdam, Eagle Cox in 4th. Ned Bowen dropping back. Now he needs to stay in contact, Ned, to be able to unleash his sprint. So he needs to work a little bit. There's a little gap appearing in front of him. He needs to close that to fell bar. Otherwise he's going to be out of the running. Melville, Cox, and Heater down there at the front. Now it's Fellbal just bridging across them. Now probably Rob Stone back in 5th wheel there. We're just going through a few back markers now. Only 800 metres. Rob Stone's taking the front and he's pushing hard. He's opened a little gap. Melville seeing it, he's closing it down. Eagle Cox behind him. Looks like Bowen's dropped himself out of this race now. Stone is going to be strong all the way to the finish now. He's going to be the lead out man for one of these guys. Melville just watching him. Leader down, Cox behind him. Stone, 150 metres. Leader down's looking like he's unleashing his sprint. Cox is gone, Cox is going to take it. I think Melville will come in 2nd. Heater down 3rd. Oh, it's tight on the bunch there. I think it was Melville, Stone, and then Heater down. Joe Rusenet coming over. Shepherd's behind him. Shepherd is getting in the draft. Shepherd's pulling big watts now. Is he going to pass him? Use the draft to the best advantage there. Just pipped him at the line. Shepherd's and Rusenet there. Now, that's improved massively from where I was last week, because I did do that kind of an attack at the last minute, but my avatar didn't pull the draft, just sat out to the side. Net Owen, and across the line. But how wide behind him, I think Hal's been lapped. Some comments coming in here about the finishing. A couple of comments saying they're tired. A few well dones. Eagle Cops is congratulating the course maker, which off the top of my head I would probably guess is John Bythway. Oh, Mike's just come past me with a cheeky little sprint. I'm back to the lead now. Antoine Renault is coming over in, I think that's 9th place. Tom Gates back in 12th there, he did well with the front group, strong performance, he's a good rider. And Team Drift, you can see a few events from them this year, and they do hold their own events already, but no doubt they'll be holding some open ones. Ramler coming over the line 13th. Putting in a big effort now. Get to the line in style. Unsworth falling in. 14th position. Garwood and Paul Fidel fighting out behind him. Looks like Garwood's going to take it to the line. Fidel just leaving the effort a little bit too late there. It's Cooper coming in 17th in the GCN kit. GCN reviewed RGT some time ago, but changed massively since they did it, so if you've been looking at the reviews on GCN, I'd suggest you jump on it and try it. It's free to try. It's usually 2 courses or more in the free trial version. The subscription's only $6.99, so it doesn't break the bank. Gavin coming over at 18th with Austin chasing hard, and Vickers doing a sprint there. Just pass Austin, not quite make it to Gavin though. T Wood blasted past the patter there. You would think it was sleeping and going to pile up on Drabble here. See if anyone makes it past him. Drabble's putting in a bit more of an effort now to keep everyone off his wheel. John, by the way, back in 27th position. John tends to like hillier courses. Raising him in 26th there. I think he's opened his sprint up too early. John's followed him, making the most of this draft. John just paces himself right. You can see the finish line now. Well, Raisin's looking like he's just snapped the elastic from by the way there. And he's going to take it. John's keeping the power down though, making sure that 28th position doesn't come past him. John, RGT staff, is commonly seen on Facebook does a lot of the organising. Most of you probably have contacted him through Facebook Messenger to ask about a race or one other point or another. And Sylvia Martin back here now, 29th position with their RGT staff. Unfortunately, they're all fairly decent riders, which does me no good. Yeah, fairly bad rider. Just pacing myself to the line now. Getting prepped, ready for the Westerley race. So, live results. Eagle Cups took the win. James Melville, Heated Dam, and Rob Stone very tightly packed at the finish line there. Rasmus Feldbaugh, Jerry Shepherd's, Rusnek, and then Ned Bowen coming a bit further down the line. Would have pegged Ned Bowen to have taken the sprint, but just got a little bit gapping for Ned then, and he didn't close it down quick enough and just got dropped. Big differences in that last 1 kilometre. So this has been Riley Harvey for Virtual Cycling News, with a stream by ZMS Livestream. It's also being pushed to estv.co. As we mentioned before earlier on, if you're enjoying these streams, then we're on Facebook, ZMS Livestream. If you can like and follow, and if you're watching on the YouTube, if you can like and subscribe, and then just seeing those subscribers and the followers rise gives us more time, more enthusiasm to do more streams for you. I'm going to take a couple of minutes break, just get a drink before we jump straight into the Westerley race. Hello and welcome to the stream. You're watching ZMS live stream and I'm Riley Harvey for Virtual Cycling News. Tonight we're taking part in the West London Virtual Racing Race 3.8. It's the 8th race in the series, the 3rd series put on by Westerley CC, and it's organised extremely well by Dave Morrison. He puts on the race every fortnight from his local area. But not only does he arrange the races, he also goes out and rides the courses and gives a video recon for all the people wanting to take part. And he also has little ongoing clubs within, which one of them is 21 and done. So you do 21 races for Westerley CC on the online racing, and you get yourself a little badge, a little bit of something to commemorate the event. Commemorate taking part, which is great. There's not a lot of organisers have gone to the time and effort to do that. So I'm racing tonight as part of the Transatlantic Raiders. So you can take part as an individual in this race, or you can race as part of a team. I think it's teams of up to 4. Mike Lister is usually the rider on the commentary team, and I'm normally just providing some waffle, fill in the gaps while Mike's putting in the efforts. But tonight Mike's got other plans, so I've agreed to step in and put my legs on the line, put a bit of an effort down for Mike, and see where we can get to on this race. Get points awarded for taking part. You have to have a minimum of 2 members of the team to take part. Well, sorry, the best 2 placed members on the team get points. So hopefully I'll be able to help Mike score a few points on this race. And Virtual Cycling News can continue to take part in the events. 49 riders online. It's only a 15.3 kilometre course. And as always, goes off like a rocket. Nick Greenhouse taking an early lead off the front here, and I am already distanced back in 43rd position, and I'm seeing that front group disappear. Did not hit my sprint hard enough on the start line, so I'm going to ease back slightly and work on the fact that I will pick up some back markers rather than burning all of my matches in one go. Just taking part in the physics. So legs are warm already, and perhaps already used up. 42nd position, the Austin on the road in front of me. Switch over to the other main roast. The All Blacks on the front from South Africa New Zealand team. A big bunch of riders rolling through in the front there. And Hammond Phillips is in there. Dave Morrison in the front group. Back a bit further down the group, and here we go. Chris Little, 39th, 38th position. Just gone past Williamson, 36th, Beale, 37th, Burhooks, and ZMS. You're going to have to drop back farther in the road if you want to catch me. 13.3 kilometres left to go. The race leader back at the front of the race. Got Nick Greenhouse, who's Ratio Racing. strong rider, and he's riding with Kujawski tonight. Yeah, about 360 watts on the front of the peloton there. And watch Kujawski ride the rest of your racing on the Monday night ride, and he showed he's got plenty of power to make repeated attacks on the front, to drive it and then drop back and repeat it again. And McAlpine on the front there, just line it up. Olaf's South Africa, New Zealand, seeing him moving on the front, pushing hard. Fusel coming across. Jay Samet there on the front. He just went straight past. Putting an effort himself on the front there. 930 watts. Going into a sharp hairpin corner. Those hairpin corners can kill any draft that you've got. So it's important to position well and be pushing as you go around those corners, because the rider that you're drafting accelerates on the way out. You can really lose your positioning. It's not only have you lost your draft, but you've been auto braked going around the corner, so your speed's slowed as well. So on the way out of those sharp corners, it's important to jump on the power. Hi Sam, good to see you. And notes there, another South African, New Zealand boys. Last time around, the two South African, New Zealand riders really made the race interesting, putting lots of efforts. Pierre Massé there. There's also a Monday night's pop-up race. He's only putting out 200 watts there. He's in the pack. Doesn't need to put in a lot of effort. You can just watch your positioning. You can get a good 50 to even 200 or 300 watts saving, depending on how fast the bunch is going. There you go. All off to off the front. His teammate Notes was just off the front a minute ago. Like I say, those two seem to be quite animated in the racing, keep things lively. Pushing out over 500 watts there. Going up to 550, speed of 46 kilometers per hour. Pretty nippy. See his heart rate's up there as well, 178. It's always a good indicator when an athlete's putting in an effort. You see the power going up, you also see the heart rate going up. Going up to 179 now. Me personally, my max heart rate's about 185. I think that's about right for a lot of athletes. I mean, heart rate's very personal, but I think I'm in the average range, that's what I'm trying to say. Johan, still driving off the front here, and I'm not sure if the peloton is paying enough attention here, because they aren't closing him down. If they do start riding, it won't take long for them to bridge that gap, and it's debatable with 10 kilometers to go whether Johan will be able to time trial it all the way to the end at this sort of pace. It is a substantial effort. I'm just saying that his power is dropping down 350, 300 now. See, it's getting a bit busier into the peloton again now. A few of the riders have started riding. See, the bars underneath the names are going red, and that means putting a significant effort in. Red's above FTP efforts, and it's estimated roughly that in the red zone you'd be able to do around about 10 to 20 minute effort. There is a bright red zone, which is a little difficult to differentiate between the deep red and the bright red. The bright red is the neuromuscular zone that it's described as, and that is only a few seconds of effort. It's your heavy, hard sprints. Nine kilometres left to go. Pack's regrouped. Sealer on the front. And that's Dave just leading up to the front there in the pink top. Dave Morrison. Just worth noting that these courses are what we call magic roads. So they're created from a GPX that Dave provides automatically by the software. You're given generic scenery. The scenery that's used on this one is referred to as Europe in springtime. You get some of the cobbles from the classics, nice green fields, and a little bit of rain. Sam there just putting an effort in on the front, but got closed down by Miller. And another rider that closed it down as well. He's just jumping off the front again. Wouldn't be surprised that's Knox. It is Knox from South Africa, New Zealand team. I feel I can repeat myself here, but the two riders there do seem to like to keep this lively. They're 8 kilometres away from home, so it's unlikely a move like this will stick. One rider out on their own solo. So again, Miller on the effort into reel him in. You wonder whether it's worth Miller putting those efforts in though. You're going through the halfway marker there. Back with the main group there. McAlpine and an effort on the front. Row bottom from Ratio Racing. Greenhouse on the front there. And Sam's a strong racer. I've seen him put in long distance efforts, but also some fantastic sprints. Great little panning shot of the peloton there. Something that you can't really get on real racing. So yeah, going back to how the routes are created, you can send in a GPX from one of your own local rides that you've recorded on a computer, and the software will realise that into a real road for you. It's dead easy, you just email it over to the RGT computers and it appears in your own personal Magic Road library. Or you can use some plotting software. The most commonly used one is Strava. That seems to have the most reliable GPX data, and you can plot your route in Strava, save it as a GPX and upload that in Ride, any road in the world. If it's a course that you want to train on, like one of the Ironman courses that's uploaded to magicroads.org, or if it's just a local course that you don't fancy going out on because it's rainy, they're all there, anywhere in the world to ride. So we've got a couple of groups falling back on the road here. 24th position, Unsworth, Niagara and Buckley. And Duffy. 34th position, Beale. 36th, got Karen and Berhout. Apologies if I'm not pronouncing your name right. Apologies if I don't pronounce anyone's name right. Chris Little, back in 37th. See him quite regularly in the races. He's a good, consistent rider. 38th, got Williamson. 39th, Gibson, South African rider. 40th, Ferreira, Brazilian. 41st, Austin. 42nd, we've got Wheeler there in the Internationals shirt. Riding a fixie. Look at that rider in 43rd. Just taking it easy. Nobody behind them. Oh, you've got Martinez behind them. Back on the lead. Askew in a consistent effort now. 4.6k to the lead, to the finish, and starting to get to the point now where, you know, a couple of riders off the front, solid efforts, sort of distances where somebody could make it. If the peloton fell asleep. Askew, 420 watts there, just holding a steady distance on peloton. Cadence of 92, heart rate's up there at 183. See it climbing now, it's putting more effort in. 187. He's just increasing his gap slightly on a peloton there. Quite a high cadence of, got a good cadence, 93, 95. Ever so slightly increasing that gap. Sharp corner, the auto braking there, and pushing on the power as he goes out. And not seeing much of an effort from peloton chasing yet.
Massive thanks from West London VR to everybody who's raced with us, RGT for the support, what a community, absolutely fantastic. I knew from the outset, the moment I saw Magic Roads, this was the place to be. The racing was realistic on RGT, it had to be the place to put on the races. And we started locally with local riders, so we plotted routes locally. And it was a fantastic opportunity to build routes that you wanted. So if you wanted a hilly one this week, you could. And now we can do time trials as well. RGT is just phenomenal. It's grown, it's become international, and not only that, I mean, some of the guys who support this along the way, Johan Orsi, Jonathan Crane, Mike Lister, James Vickers, Tom Gakes, all the guys at Southborough, we love you. There's just loads of you, and I've probably missed somebody off, and I'm probably going to offend somebody, but if I did miss you off, I still love you. It's fantastic. Thank you very much, everybody. West London VR has been an incredible journey, and we've absolutely loved being with RGT. So stick with RGT, everybody. It's the place to be. Yep, it's where fast is a blast.
Great message there from ride organiser Dave Morrison. Really enjoys the platform, really enjoys putting on these races for everyone. It's great to see such interaction and attendance become a regular feature of many riders Wednesday nights. Just going back to the racing now. Askew still off the front, and his gap appears to be ever so slightly increasing. He's at 430 watts, 450 watts. He's gapped 90 meters, which I think is about 8 seconds, which is really significant. Just coming up onto the final climb. See his heart rate's gone up over 190 now. Still back in the peloton. Those bars at the front riders not going red. They're not putting the efforts in to catch him. They're just sitting around. And are they going to sit around too long? 1.3 kilometers to go. See if we can get Flam Rouge there. And it's a massive milestone here. 1 kilometre to go. Once we go underneath that, Miles will know he's only got to hang on for that brief period for glory. But it looks like seeing that is animated the rest of the peloton. Got knots on the front there, putting the power in again now. They've all seen the danger. They're going to overhaul Miles in the last few metres. Miles out of saddle sprinting now. 5.2 watts per kilogram. Still gapped at 73 metres. This is going to be tight. Brasio racing there on the lead of the peloton. Content, but they're not putting in the effort. I think the peloton's going to miss this. Askew consistently 5 watts per kilogram. This is it now. You're going to see them start opening up sprints. 270 metres left to go. Fuzel there, 8 watts per kilogram. Notes has come round him. Notes is on the attack. Will he slide in behind Askew and just catch the last bit of draft? Oh. Bowen's going for the line. Bowen's made it. Bowen takes the win. Such a fantastic ride there. Bowen timed that to perfection. Dave Morrison's dropped back, 20th position. Perhaps he wasn't paying too much attention when the peloton got animated then. Ben Hammond Phillips there from Ratio Racing with a 22nd position. And Dave just stay away to keep his 20th place. Phillips and Skudlarek coming through now, 21st, 22nd. They're riding together at the moment. But before too long, they're going to see that Flam Rouge. They're going to start attacking each other. And they're just easing to sit in behind Skudlarek and save his energy. Duffy and Unsworth are seeing them, chance of catching them. Unsworth's bridged, and Unsworth is going to sprint through. He's going to catch Phillips. Duffy's gone past them all. Oh, next group on the road, Scuderack and Phillips weren't paying enough attention there. Too busy thinking about what each other was going to do. And the rest of the peloton came through. Beale, 34th position on the road. Verhoot coming up hard on him. Beale seeing that Verhoot's put the effort in there, he's just done a little bit of a effort himself. Keep the distance solid. Heron underneath the Flamme Rouge, 36th position. I don't think he's going to catch up to Verhoot though. Beale, he's sprinting for the line now. Doesn't want to lose that position. And all his efforts in now. 5 watt per kilogram. I'm not sure how much legs Beale has got. A little bit inconsistent there. Jumping up to 7 and back down. You can see the finish line. 62 metres over Verhoot. Verhoot there, comfortable. 35th position. Chris Little. Got Heron on his tail. Chris Little putting in a solid effort now. It's a break free of Heron. Chris Little, see him racing frequently. Not usually one of the first finishers, but he does play in strong, consistent efforts, quite often soloing the entire race, which is what he's pretty much done today. Heron chasing in 37th position, little sprint to the finish line there. Williamson coming over in 38th, sprinting for the line. Gibson in a big effort now, still got a way to go. You can see Pereira chasing him down and passing him. Pereira's gone flying past him. See if Pereira can use that all the way to the line. Still got 150 metres to go. He's keeping 4.1 watts per kilogram. Gibson's playing in a big effort now. It's too late to close him down. Good ride in there from Pereira. Just snatched that position at the last minute. Austin now, 41st position. Looks to be just rolling it home. That's an Argon 18 he's riding. Austin, he's a clear 170, 180 metres over his next competitor. And then dropping back to Riley at 1.5 kilometres back on the road. Austin coming over the lines, just look back there, check he was clear. 41st position, little wave of the hand. Wheeler, 42nd, and they are well clear of the next rider on the road. Right, getting into the results now. 5 results on the road. And we've got Ned Bowen coming in with a perfectly timed sprint at the end of that race. Time 20 minutes. 51.5 seconds. Will be Steve Mays and Matthew Feely. Just pipped Jay Samet out there. No step on the podium for him this week, finishing in 4th. Luca comes in 5th. Nurgor in 6th. Simon Miller, who did some fantastic riding to break away from the front and hold the peloton off so long, came over in 7th. Kajowski, Gracio Racing in 8th. Noakes in 9th. And Rowbottom in 10th. Less than a second in that whole top 10. They all came in within 0.4 of a second of the winner. That was a tight race. It was well ridden by the peloton to allow Miller just to tire himself out in the front there, and the whole peloton to go as one mass sprint. Just reeling in a couple of metres in before the line. So pro racing will be a fortnight before the racing's back on. The rest of the races are every fortnight. I've been Riley Harvey for Virtual Cycling News. You've been watching the stream by ZMS live stream. We're available on Facebook on ZMS live stream, and there's also streams running on YouTube. If you have the time, if you can like and follow on Facebook and like and subscribe on YouTube, give us a bit more initiative to go off and make more of these streams, knowing that people are following and watching. You can also turn on notifications so that you know when we're going live next for the stream, bringing you breakdowns of things like the RGT Real Physics event that we did tonight. We're also pushing out these streams to estv.co. That's estv.co, which is a 24/7 streaming platform. You can pick them up on YouTube, but they're also available through lots of different TV boxes, Android boxes, to pick up live events all the time. There's more and more of the ZMS live stream featuring on there. But you can also watch live drone racing if that's what you're interested in. Something to keep you entertained. Hope to see you soon. Have a good evening.